Hello and welcome everybody to yet another Ames League race today. I do have my co-host, co-commentator Ryan on time today. It's amazing. What's up, Ryan?
Hello. We're here. Much less stressful morning. I don't know for both of us. I think so. We should take it up to be a better day already.
Happy to be on time. It's a wonderful thing, right?
Early's on time. That's what I learned growing up.
I'm with you. On time. I can hear you both. Hog, let's go, Pato.
Let's go.
I think I haven't been talking to Pato this past week. I've been a little bit busy. How's the racing going, Pato? Hope you learned a few things here and there. And I know we got Jess and Jared tuning in. Yuma's on the road, I think, and he's tuning in. So,
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, Mouse changed over. We had quite a few car changes this week.
Yeah. For anyone new watching, this is our second race in the manufacturer Gr.3 series, where we were allowing drivers to change their manufacturer up until this race. However, someone that seems to have abused that rule is Mooseman over here, who has proven quick in the past, and I think he's been through like 3 or 4 different cars now. But he is set now. He's in the Alpha. He's ready to go.
Yeah, he's set and he's looking. I mean, I don't know how the Alpha performs, but he's looking good, and at least that is a good-looking livery, in my opinion.
I feel like, AMD's running hot, running fast. Hopefully the Alpha doesn't overheat much. Oh, and as he gets the penalty for track limits, probably at the end of the S's there. That's going to be a hot spot on the track today, I think, where you're trying to take as much speed into the downhill section of the S's, and, I mean, you really, barely want to lift on the uphill section out of that at the end of Sector 1, and that's going to be a point where it's very, very easy to get a time penalty for track limits.
Not only is that section going to make or break your time, especially in the first sector, but it is going to be a dangerous sector, I imagine. Coming at it could be a little tight, especially if you're going 2-3 cars wide there.
Absolutely. I would dare anybody to actually go side by side in that section, because I would rather just concede the position and, fight at a different point. It's just going to be mayhem, I think, otherwise.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a typical overtaking place, because let's face it, if you go wider, you're going to get a better exit and stomp on the speed faster. But if you go in tight, you're just cutting off you can't carry a lot more speed in there, because it kind of angles off in a way that it cuts off the circuit, if you take the inside line. But, we'll see what they can do here. We do have a pretty full grid. It looks like, I believe, 12 drivers.
12 at the moment, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like 12 at the moment. I thought we were supposed to have a couple more, but I think those were also reserves. We do have some reserve drivers for those of our regular members who can't make it, whether they're on the road or have other plans. We do have a race every Sunday. As we're experiencing, it can be a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the nice thing. We actually redid our point structure for this race as well. Not that I don't think anyone watching was super aware of the point structure. We're still getting some graphics for that together, but it's going to hopefully encourage people to try and make every race as long as possible. Obviously, you have other priorities, even though racing should be the number one priority, we all know. If by chance you have something that's higher than that, you still get points for coming in every place now instead of just the top half. And so even if you're having an off day, it encourages you to stick through it and hopefully, perform better next time. Pato says any place is an overtaking place if you zug hard enough. And man, ain't that the truth. But,
ain't that the truth?
You do have to leave it to space, of course. Always leave it to space.
You could joke as much as you want, but really, just about any gap is a fair gap, in my opinion. We do, of course, have to be careful. We all try to be respectful here, and this is what we're here for: good racecraft and respectful racing, hard racing. But if you're attacking someone, you do have to be very aware. Think of the places where you can't see people coming up behind you. At a common place, like we're watching Delps right now, is someone taking the inside line on someone turning into that chicane. Any corner, really, that could be a dangerous spot to be in, where you're just not easily visible by the driver ahead. So, again, smart racing and respectful racing, I think, is the name of the game here.
Absolutely, and today it's some nice weather at Road Atlanta, no rain or anything special. Of course, it will be turning tonight at some point, which night driving is a whole nother beast, because all of a sudden you have less places for like braking points and turning points because everything's in the shadows all of a sudden, so you can't see as much on the track, which you might use during the day. And obviously it can also kind of make fighting a bit harder because maybe you can't see who's next to you as easily as before. So, you know, I'm hoping that we do get some close driving outside of the Sector 1 with all the S's. And I'm sure that we'll end up seeing some passes maybe at the chicane or even going into turn 1 leading into the S's. I think that might be a spot where we see some passes happening.
Yeah, I think so for sure. This has I gotta say, you know, before we get going into quality, but this is one of my favorite tracks. It just, again, you hook it up right, and it feels so much fun to drive through. But if you do it wrong, it just feels punishing on your lap times.
Oh, yeah,
it's just unforgiving
brutal.
in that aspect.
It's absolutely brutal. And the penalty line is a very brutal spot as well. And like we were saying, as far as those track penalties happening, I'm sure they're going to be coming relatively fast at certain points of the race, you know. So hopefully you're getting less, but I mean it's right on the like main straight of the track, so you lose a ton of time there. But we're going to be going into qualifying, and Ryan, you are in the okay. I already see the safety car. Perfect.
That's it. Here I am. So I'll exit real quick. Yeah, our first Manu Series race, it made a little hiccup. That's okay. We do a grid start here, so we incorporate, that lap into the first lap of the race. So basically, I'll be starting at the back of the grid and going up ahead of people just before turn 1. That way they can properly warm up their tires and make sure everything's A-okay in their rigs, their controllers, whatever it might be. You know, try to add a little bit more. I like it. It's a little bit more realistic, in my opinion.
Yeah, it just, you know, it adds a bit more formality to everything starting, I think, and that's why we like it here. So as far as different cars, it's funny because I feel like we just started learning who is where. As we see Tony Cal getting a bit of grass on his owl lap here as qualifying is starting. Tony Cal's been showing us some liveries lately, and I gotta say that Tic Tac livery is looking pretty on that NSX.
Yeah, that is definitely one of my favorites that he's whipped out, but he also just did a slew of candy liveries the other night. He told us he just likes to look around his house for inspiration and choose what goes where. So
I guess you could say those liveries are pretty sweet, huh?
Maybe they're pretty fresh if you're looking to freshen your breath with a Tic Tac.
Is the orange one really fresh? I feel like
no,
it's just popping like candy.
It's fake.
Yeah.
Dude, the amount of times I would buy a case of Tic Tacs and just down the entire thing.
Pato has a hot take here. He's saying the orange Tic Tacs are the worst, and I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna have to disagree right there.
I mean, they do have a horribly chemically taste as I've gotten older.
It's just
I gotta say,
brave, you know.
Yeah, the chemicals, naturally.
Anyway, let's continue down the list here a bit. We have Specs in a new car. This is Specs' first manufacturer series race of the actual series. He is around preseason a lot, and was driving the BRZ, I think, of all testing, and now he's in the Jag. And I think the biggest weakness of the BRZ was just the straight line speed compared to the Jag, which has a ton of straight line speed.
Yeah, I thought the BRZ really suited him well. Again, they're busting out some cars that I haven't driven personally, so I'll make some time to do that over the next week or two. But it looks great. I gotta say, it is a looker. I mean, those F-types are just beautiful cars, regardless.
Oh, they are. We'll continue down Delp's Destination.
Delpis,
his livery.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We're checking out Crispy now, who's moved into the GTR. Now, this is what Mooseman had actually started on, as we see some lap times coming up now. This is a very, very good car, I think. From what I've noticed, it's just planted and it has good power, and it feels very secure.
Yeah, I just have to agree. It's one of the meta cars, I think, right now, and it's just, you can't go wrong driving it. You really can't. There's no bad sides to it, in my opinion.
No, I don't think so.
Some will argue the older, because there's two GTRs available, if I remember correctly. There's the one that's slightly older and the more modern one. And some will say, oh, the older one has higher top-end speed. But this newer one, man, you can't go wrong. It's a treat to drive.
It's a good looking one. Then here we have Gilly, who has stayed with his Mercedes the entire time and has proven to be quick on it. He's also proven to be very good with tire management and I think even fuel. So it seems to be a good fit for him. He seems to have a lot of practice in the car, and definitely someone who, you know, I don't think he's gotten a lot of practice this week, as he was saying in the Discord earlier. But yeah,
no, he was a bit
sick,
busy.
right, Jared?
Yeah, Gilly's done some work, and he's been terribly impressive, like you said, on tires and gas. Thinking back to our first Manu Series race, he in Spain, Barcelona, he destroyed, or I should say, he nursed those softs, whereas Moose Man was on mediums, and they went the same stint.
Yeah, you guys are. Right? Are you seeing any stream live run?
You know what? I had it off in a different area. Let me put it side by side so I can also check for that.
Well, first the great well on that. But Mr. Labu, who in McLaren has been a pretty quick driver throughout the series so far and through testing. New livery to this week. Okay, good. It looks like it's fine now. Excellent. We had quite the thunderstorm and rain this morning. It was going pretty hard nonstop in New York. So,
yeah, it was.
Excellent. Good. I'm glad to hear it. Labu, the pumpkin man himself, and be sure to be on the lookout whenever we're focusing on Labu. Take a look at that helmet livery. If you can see it in there, that's not his face. That's the helmet. And someone that we're expecting definitely to be pretty quick today, I think. We're gonna follow up here now.
Keep on going
with Arctic, who is again a relatively new driver. Joined us for the last Miata MX-5 Cup Series last weekend, and this is their first Manufacturer Cup race with us in the Peugeot. Blue, white, and pink livery. It looks really good.
Looks clean.
And they've been someone who has proven to be quick as well. And
that's for sure.
I mean, so far, Mooseman has got the top spot with a 118.080. And I mean, the Arctic at the moment is a little ways off, almost a full second off. But that time for a Moose was very, very quick. And just with that lap, Arctic got a hell of a lot closer. Excuse me. Words are hard. So, someone again that will be on the lookout. Again, I'm not sure how practiced they are at this track or what, but it'll be interesting to see. We're gonna jump on now to the rest of the grid here. Delps, we're finally on you, bud. And Delps with a 119.0. That's a pretty good time as well. In the Ford.
Delps here in the Ford. Just that shining Marlboro advertisement. The car looks good. I mean, frankly, first of all, that Ford GT almost can't look bad.
Yeah, I feel like you have to try really, really hard to make that thing look bad.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you got some big old sponsors there. Your AIM, definitely not missing your AIM's number plates.
we see it loud and clear. So, you know, that GT, I'm interested to see how you get along with that, Phillips. It's something that I haven't really driven, but I've heard it's kind of difficult to drive. But we'll see. And we're gonna move on real quick. We got plus we have Sakia with a 1.5 second. Oh, Yves, probably track limits if I had to guess.
Yeah, I saw Sakia mowing some grass. So, and I was just gonna say, actually, you know, you're running down this list. These drivers are not invincible. I saw Sakia go off. I saw Moose spin out. Tony Cal spun out before. So, and Sakia definitely has some damage there. So, they'll just be nursing it back to the pits, I'm sure, after this penalty. Yes. And they don't have a lot more time in qualifying, so they got to get in and out, man.
Yeah, they definitely don't have a representative time at the moment. But it looks like they are also Team AMG along with Gilly there.
That's right. The car's looking fresh. Again, I like it. It's
and
clean.
There's you.
And
purple. There we go.
Yeah, purple Oracle. The time shift around a bit. It's kind of a pain in the behind.
Well, between those and not being able to see the full grid, you know.
Yes, because of Gran Turismo.
Repping my favorite car, the RSL1 by Renault. So gotta give it to my man's Purple. Purple is someone who surprised us in the MX-5 Cup. Obviously, completely different cars, but at least in the MX-5, they seemed like they had a fair amount of pace, and they were able to keep up with like upper midfield, I'd say, at least from what we were able to see in that race. Currently having a 119.391 as their fastest lap, while Moose threw in a flyer of a 117.7.
Moose is telling us, you know, I could change my car, I'll still be quick. Now, Moose was in the Lamborghini until 2 days ago, yesterday.
Something like that. Yeah, he just was not having a good time. Now, granted, the first two tracks as we go jump on with Moose. Oh, Gilly puts in a quicker lap than Moose with a 117.6.
Gilly!
Holy.
Oh, get in there, man.
Get in there.
Making that AMG proud.
We've got just
Toto will like that.
We've got just over a minute left of quali too, and that was a lap to make it count for sure.
Let's see if he can get back to the pits with his fuel. It's quite low.
Yeah, well, the thing with the first two manufacturer series that we've done so far, we did Barcelona and now Road Atlanta, which both have proven to be very, very difficult for tire management. And I definitely think the wheel users in the league will be having the upper hand on any controller users. As we know, that's might be one of the weakest point of using a controller is tire wear and not really being able to have as much control over that as you would want or as you can have on a wheel.
Yeah, I have to agree. And again, as a current controller user, soon to be get a rig set up. But yeah, I know Polyphony did just when they in their latest update, they apparently made a slight change to possibly help us controller drivers out with tire deck. I didn't get to play much this week, but you've been playing a lot. Do you feel like you noticed anything different or anything better?
I don't think I was playing too much before that change was made. And honestly, like I think for the most part, I've just been I was doing testing on Road Atlanta, and before that, I was doing testing on Cataluna for these races. So I definitely noticed. Like I was using a lot of like there's a lot of tire deck, but that's just the nature of these two courses. It seems like. So we'll have to see what happens. As Mooseman is going around for a final lap, I think, and that's going to be it. That's all she wrote. He got in that lap, and that was it, unfortunately. So unless anyone else coming around the track has a quicker time, it looks like Dave Gillier is going. I said Dave. His name's not Dave, man. It doesn't say Dave.
Dave's not here, man.
On provisional pole with a 117.6. That's pretty rapid. However, I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of these drivers on the soft. Obviously, you want to be on the soft for qualifying, but come race time, I just don't see it happening. We see Tony Cal here on the final lap. I guess he's going to be pushing. He looks like he's fast.
Wow, he squeezed in the final lap. Good for him.
Yeah,
it looks like maybe a couple
in there.
Yeah.
But right now, Gilly on provisional pole. This chicane that Tony's coming up on, they're driving way better than me than I was. But it's a tough one. It's tough. You want to carry as much speed as possible throughout like this entire section. And as he's going to cross the line, does not improve.
119.2.
Does not improve.
Yeah, it's about a second down on his fastest time. So looking like no one's taking the crown from Gilly right now. That's fastest lap. Or pole for quali, I should say.
Good job.
Delps is saying the Ford is quite hard to drive and it takes a long way to brake. That's tough. That's not...
Built Ford tough.
Built Ford tough, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely tough, right?
Well, we'll see how you get on, Delps. I mean, 7th place for qualifying. It looks like, you got some work to do, but nothing that you can't get done, I'm sure. Not far off from Wabu in front of you, so it looks like it's going to be a relatively tight grid, at least in the midfield. Wabu up in 6th. Kind of surprised me, but wow, look how close they are to specs.
Yeah, the midfield's going to have some battles, and you know what? That may just very well let the top runners get on away while they fight. But, at certain points it's worth fighting, and certain points it's not. So if someone's got the position on you, especially early on, I feel like just let them go, because by fighting them, you're not just going to slow yourself down, it'll slow them down. Slowing down brings up other people from the back that might catch up and overtake you, and you're just going to harm your tires and fuel more. In my opinion, it's really not worth fighting in the beginning. You pick and choose your battles and go and have fun. Yeah, as long as I don't spin, it's good. That's right. That's the name of the game. No crashes and no spinning. I'll tell you, that uphill section after section 1 is going to be a lot.
Yeah. Someone who, I think the grid overall is quick. I'm excited to see what times it ends up being, but Deanan was someone who I got a bit of practice in with earlier this week and was consistently running 118s and low 118s at that. So come race time, we'll see how it goes. I'll jump into these results real quick before we jump into spectating for the race here. So yeah, it looks like the grid is not terribly spread out. Almost a second at 8th place with Demon, and there we go. Okay, so we got some spread, but it doesn't look like it's too much for most of the field. So we are going to get into raceway here. Ryan's going to jump
That's
into the
right.
safety car in a second here.
I'm going to hop off. I will be back.
Excellent. Have fun. Don't crash.
Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully not. That'd be very embarrassing. All right. And folks, enjoy the race. I'll be back in just a few minutes after the safety lap.
Absolutely. So we'll be here, and we can definitely see what our grid's looking like as we wait for the room to open up for the race here. Gilly had quite a good lap, but Moose was not that far off by any means. I mean, just this within the top 5, top 6, I'd say it's very, very close. I mean, less than a second. So have a good race this purple. Excellent. And we have a full 90-minute race coming up here as soon as we start, and it'll be interesting to see what tire strategies we end up seeing here. Like I said earlier, the softs I don't think are going to be a big play for people. Maybe someone in the midfield wants to try and get up a few places real quick, in if there's any carnage that might happen in the very beginning, but that's not. I don't think that's going to be the play. I don't think the softs, unless you're very, very good at tire deck, or you're dealing with it, or your car is very good at it, I don't think the softs are really going to see much play. Maybe at a last stint towards the end of the race, if you need to fill up quick on gas or something like that, and you say, screw it, I'll throw on some soft for the last 10 laps maybe. But I think for the most part, we'll see a lot of people on mediums and hards for sure. I would almost say mediums seem to, in my testing at least, mediums seem to last pretty well with the fuel, but we are requiring a compound change. So I would almost say have people start off on hards and just swap to mediums for the rest of the race. I anticipate quite a, maybe 3 pit stops here, maybe more. It's a little bit unsure. Delps says this can get something. You broke my finger. You broke your finger, man. Oof. Well, best of luck. Don't hurt yourself more. All right, so we're gonna spectate here. Let's get everything back on the screen. All righty. So we're gonna get underway with the procedural opening lap. So the safety car in the back there is gonna pull ahead of everyone and just guide everyone through a quick track. And everyone's getting we see a little bit of movement. This is the slowest moving cinematic camera you guys have seen. And we'll jump on board with Ryan real quick in the safety car here. I believe Anthony Tony Cal did delivery for the safety cars. I'm not sure if that's his livery or not. Oh yeah, I guess it is. It does say Amazon. Okay. I haven't seen it before on this one, so it'll be fun. Now the first time Ryan tried a safety car, he was flying. It's like he's trying to put in a qualifying lap, and that's not the point of the safety car. We're just procedural kind of lap, get the tires going and whatnot, and then it'll be a rolling start depending on our pole sitter, which is Gilly in the AMG. As we see these drivers kind of, moving around a little bit on track, trying to get some temperature in those tires. It'll be to Gilly to start the race, and for the guys behind him, Moose is definitely going to want to get a quick start on him. And Arctic will Tony Cal. Time to go. Green. Yeah, almost. If you catch someone sleeping on the start, you can definitely start pulling away. So Moose is going to want to be right on Gilly's tail here. Yuma, how do you find the rolling starts, like the manual rolling starts? Do you find it difficult, or you're just kind of anticipating getting ready to go? We see the AMG Gilly. I love this livery. I keep on saying it, but man, it's just like a comic book kind of inspired, sponsored by Bill's team. I think it looks really, really good. I was coming down here. Of course, the chicane, getting ready to get underway with today's race at Road Atlanta, race number 2 in our manufacturer series. Very much looking forward to this race. And it will be interesting to note who is starting on what tires. It looks like Billy's on the mediums, When Ryan gets back, we'll go through and see what tires everyone else is on as well. But we're going to keep our eyes on Gilly as we're going to be getting underway here. Race will be starting just momentarily. And we are away. Gilly pulling away quickly in that AMG. It looks like Arctic might have had a great start alongside Mooseman as well. But as we come up to this uphill section, Gilly is going to be trying to carry as much speed as possible into the downhill S's here. This is a spot where you can make up or lose a bunch of time, depending on how you drive it. Yuma says it's a bit difficult because you can't see the cars start if all drivers would be in a party. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. Maybe we'll have to figure out a better way to do it. But from here, we are racing. Mooseman has a 1 second penalty, probably for track limits at the top of that uphill section at the end of the S's, I would imagine. Gilly has a half-second lead on him, and he's going to be enjoying that penalty once it comes from Mooseman. Unfortunate start for Moose, but he serves that penalty, and he continues.
All right, I'm back. Did I miss any drama?
Not too much. Gilly's walking away a little bit right now because Moose had a track limits penalty, I think, from the uphill section at the end of the S's. And so Gilly's now 2 seconds ahead of Moose, who's in second. I didn't get to see if there was any carnage in the background like that. It looks like everyone's still fairly tight, so we'll see.
Yeah, I saw a couple penalties here or there, but I didn't get to see what they were really for, unfortunately, but yeah.
Gilly's walking away from this. We're going to cut back to Moose real quick, see how he's faring in the new Alpha. And man, I'm loving that AMD livery on that Alpha.
That livery is clean.
The 4C, I drove it a little bit in GT Sport, and the only thing I was still new, and I wasn't messing with any tuning or anything like that, which you would definitely want to do for a track like this. I found it to be quick and nimble, which it should be. It's 4C, but I found it to be lacking on the straight. However, Moose put up a great time here, so he's gonna
He's making it work. He's making it work.
Absolutely, and I mean he's closing that gap down on Gilly a bit now, down from 2 seconds, and he's put a gap between himself and Arctic. So let's see. And Demon looks like he made up quite a few places. Tony Cal starting 4th. Demon's up now, so we're gonna cut down to Arctic real quick. See how Arctic is going for skipping the lawn, so he's gonna be having quite a few cars to pass. Unfortunately for him, but that is good. I mean, race start for Demon then, I guess, because I think Demon was down in 6th or 8th, something like that.
Yeah, I'm sorry here. I'm just taking note of everyone's tires. But looking right now, I've seen one of every tire so far.
Really? We have some runners on soft?
We do have a couple of runners on soft so far.
Wow.
I'll go through the full list once I have it here.
So Phelps is closing in here on Arctic for 5th, and I mean that run wide into the grass and gravel for Arctic really not working out for him. Not a strategy I would recommend, as Delps is pulling closer and closer. Let's see if he's able to make anything happen here. But Purple is also, I mean, right on Delps as well, looks like. So we have a small train of 3 cars, it looks like, being built as we speak. And as we come up to the chicane, who's going to be able to outbrake anyone else? I mean, to close the gap and maybe make a quick turn into the chicane.
Yeah, I don't know if that spot is really good for Delps there. He was already saying the GT, tough to, it takes a while to brake, so I wouldn't trust myself going into that to outbrake someone.
No, I wouldn't either, but Purple had a look up on the inside and decided to live another day and did not go for it. But Delps, again, in that GT, oh, he's getting close. He taps the back of Arctic.
Oh,
no.
He's going to have to pit after that damage.
Yeah, he's got some weird damage. That was unfortunate placement. I think that was not, I don't know who, maybe it was that Sakia.
I couldn't tell. Who you said he tapped the back of someone?
It looks like Delps tapped the back of Arctic. and then that's what's caused him to start spinning out. But then, you know, obviously ghosting isn't on, so I'm not sure if it was Labu. Let's check. Labu has front damage, so I think Labu hit him. Oh, and Labu's on the softs. Wow, okay.
Yeah, so right now I'm seeing Crispy on the softs, Delpis on the mediums, Gilly on the mediums, Moose on the softs, Labu on the softs, Purple on the softs, Saki on the mediums, Specs on the mediums, Tony on the hards, as is Arctic.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I was saying while you were doing the formation lap that I think the play for some of these guys might just be run the hards for the first stint, and then just jump onto mediums. And
yeah, get as much pace out of them as you can, right?
Yeah, we just saw Sakia going into the pits. I don't know if you want to see if they had changed the tires at all or not. But that is unfortunate. This damage, you know, unlike some other, well, we don't have the setting on. So damage is on heavy. For those of you unaware, heavy damage means it persists throughout the race until you pit and repair it. It's not like something in other games where a different setting where it'll go away over time. So it'll, you know, we'll see how the damage on Labu and Delps may affect them as the race goes on before they pit. I'm sure, especially with these softs, Labu probably just wants to get his first stint done. He'll, you know, repair it when he goes into the pits, and that's that. But that is an unfortunate start for these two drivers. We're gonna check in on Crispy over here, who is pulling up on Delps a little bit, less than a second, and slowly closing that gap in the GTR here. But again, he's on softs. Not sure how much the damage on Delps car is going to be hurting him. And then we've
I'm seeing a few people here with damage. I do believe Sakia had some damage, which is why they ended up pitting and swapping from the mediums to the softs to make up some pace. Crispy was coming up there on Delps though, having some pace.
Yeah, he had a look-see and decided to back out, I guess, at the last minute. But that GTR is quick, and it looks like it's good fit for Crispy here, who I know is kind of struggled. We have a yellow flag. It looks like maybe someone has gone off ahead of these guys.
Yeah, I couldn't catch it on my end, but it looks like everything's clear now.
Yeah, all right, cool. Looks like, Crispy, you know, hopefully going to take some advantage of the soft tires he's on right now and the damage that Delps has, but at the same time, he's going to have to pit sooner than later for these softs. I mean, we're 7 laps in, and already they are crying for some help, which is what we said earlier, right? We didn't expect anyone to be lasting long on these soft tires.
No, not at all. I mean, we have a handful of people on the softs, still 4 of them left on the softs. Actually 5 now that Sakia had pitted, so we'll see how long they last. Again, I don't blame Sakia for maybe trying to make some pace. The softs I think might come into play later in the race when, you know, people are lower on fuel, but it's a long race. We've got quite a few more laps to go.
Yeah,
it's strategies really kind of come into play here, especially, you know, as night comes on and starts cooling a bit.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is, we see Sakia right now, and for someone who had to pit so early, I don't see the reason why you would have gotten softs. Your softs aren't going to last as long as the fuel, I don't think. I mean, they could prove me wrong, but I would have gone at least on mediums, I feel.
Yeah, I maybe would have went for a hard stint myself, just to make the most out of it at that point and try to outlast people. But we'll see, you know, maybe they know that car better than we do. Obviously, we've seen Giller able to put in some great tire management and fuel management on that Mercedes, so maybe Sakia is able to do the same.
Absolutely. And speaking of Giller, it looks like Moose has passed him at some point. Well, unfortunately, we're looking at other
Moose didn't just pass him, but he is taking him to Applebee's for lunch.
That's true, but I mean, number one, Moose, because of the pit stop, Moose is coming up here on Kia already. But look at those tires, man.
Yeah, his tires are feeling pretty bad right now.
He's at half tank of fuel, so I'm sure he's gonna want, you know, maybe get another lap or so if he chooses to stay out on those tires. But he's gonna have to pit, and I'm sure he's trying to use as much fuel as possible to just run it. We'll cut back to Gilly real quick, see how he's faring now. He's on these mediums, and again, well, I mean, just the life of those mediums look fantastic compared to the softs.
Yeah, it's an astounding difference, and Giller's already at half fuel. So I would wager he's pretty, you know, using a lot of fuel right now. There's no reason for him to not be, you know, in that mixture. And beat the hell out of those mediums, man. Get your full use out of them, because it looks like they're going to be outlasting the fuel tank at this rate.
Yeah, or they might just be ending up right along with it as we get to the bottom of the fuel tank. But I think that's a good, wise call. And I mean, I don't know if at this point, it's too early in the race to tell what the strategy could be. But I assume the drivers don't really want to be on the hard tires, especially like someone like Gilly who looks like the tire wear and the fuel wear is pretty similar. So it'll be interesting to see when he has to change the compound. If he decides to go with, hang on to medium, if he decides later on in the race to jump on the softs at all, or stay, pick hards at one point and then just swap back to mediums to get over with.
Yeah, it's interesting because we see Tony on the hards and Arctic right now, and Tony's just not having a great time, it looks like. And the hards are not taking any less wear, it looks like, compared to Giller's mediums. So, curious to see, and with his fuel being at a halfway point already, Tony Cow, that is, maybe the hards weren't the move, but we'll have to see, could just be nursing some fuel and doing some savings coming up here, push hard at the start and try to outlast the other people, but, it's going to be tricky to see.
Absolutely, as we see Purple and Moose both pit and dropping the places.
Moose coming back out on the softs, it looks like, possibly.
You think he's doing another stint on soft?
No, Moose is on the mediums. I forget that it doesn't refresh until they're all the way out of the pits.
Yeah. So Arctic on the hards, went for a spot of cutting grass. Now he's back in third with Specs, though, less than a second behind him at the moment as Nightfall's on road to Atlanta. I'm sure we'll be seeing a few day and night cycles in this race. Unfortunately for Arctic, it doesn't look like they have any damage, so they're able to continue. And I don't know, the hard tires and their fuel wear, I think they were just on the hards for the first stint, and I imagine that they'll probably be swapping to mediums once they take a pit break.
Yeah, I would imagine maybe they felt that the mediums were the better bet than the hards, and or they just want to get the hards out of there and call it a day, Yeah. I mean, again, there's only the one tire compound change.
Yeah, so... And they get. Excuse me. I don't know. We'll have to see. I think like I said earlier, I think if we get soft tires, it might just be like last minute. Oh crap! I need to stop real quick and fuel up a little bit, and then I might as well throw softs on for the last 10 laps of the race.
Yeah, I mean something like that, or if someone, they're running their tires ragged, but they still have some fuel, maybe save a little bit of time in the pit stop, throw on those softs, which may last you 5 to 7 laps, and then come in and pit again. Are you going to be making up, though, the approximate, 10 to 15 seconds to pit for tires?
I don't think so. I don't see it.
I don't think so either. I don't see it either right now, but again, with night here, we may see people maybe change their minds and flame into the softs.
We'll see, and we're on board right now with Specs in his new Jag. He has some damage in the rear. I don't know what that's from. I'm not sure if Tony might hit it. He might have gotten hit by someone. I was going to ask you.
I don't know that he was involved in the Specs. It's not Specs. The Delpis tap and spin, but
I don't think so. Not that I saw, but he possibly could have been. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Specs, Delpis, and Mr. Labu were all running with damage that they didn't pit for. So.
Well, he
must not be impacting them that much.
No, I mean, if he's in this fight right now with Arctic and Tony, Specs is in a position where he's got to defend from Tony Cal, but at the same time, he wants to be on the attack for Arctic. And I think right now, as long as he can stay within that kind of slipstream area with Arctic, then I would call that a win, especially with his tire and fuel wear on the Jag. It looks like it's a bit heavy on the tires. Oh man, as he's getting closer, we're seeing a little bit of rubber banding from Arctic, I think, but or it could be Specs hot spot. I'm not really sure.
Hot spot, hot jumping around, but these three having a fantastic battle here for P3. Oh, with Specs getting a little sloppy on this entrance. This is this double right-hander here that they just came out of is always interesting for me. I feel like the second right-hander comes up way quicker than I anticipate, and I always outbreak myself. But Specs here having a run up on Arctic down this straight, Coming up next is the chicane. Looking for a move. He thinks he's got it. Let's see what he can do.
He pulls ahead just before the chicane. Let's see if he can break himself in time, and it looks like he does. And man,
wow, what a fantastic move.
The legs on that Jag are pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, he was a car length ahead.
That was a great job.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
I gotta jump on board with the Arctic real quick and see. I mean, might be the difference in those. Well, not down the straight, I would say, but maybe the grip in the chicane a bit different on those hards. We'll jump on board with Tony real quick. Who's also on hards. His tire wear doesn't seem terrible either, but that fuel, I'm sure again he's probably gonna be jumping onto mediums as soon as he's done with this stint. Oh man, as Tony Cal has a look inside Specs, Arctic has gone past Specs here again, and Tony Cal says, Specs, I'm coming for you, buddy.
Look at the time Tony Cal just makes up in those first couple of turns. I mean, that's just incredible.
That NSX looks like it's pretty quick in the curves.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Tony Cal, I think that's really where his strength lies as a driver. He knows where to place his car to really eat up any gap between himself and the person in front. Having a run on Specs here, holy, he's my if he's got the legs on it, he's going to pass him well before the turn here. But we have Arctic up front. Are we going to see 3 wide? I doubt it.
And look who's behind him, though, man. You have Moose and Crispy right behind, benefiting from the fighting that these guys are doing. I mean, Crispy just passed Moose on the straight. It looks like they're 3 seconds behind, but they're getting close. They were nowhere to be seen, a few laps ago.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. This is playing well into their hands, and especially for Mooseman, as he passes Crispy, it looks like getting just a toe back up to his position.
If I were Mooseman and Crispy, I would honestly be trying to work together to catch these guys.
Maybe that's what they're doing, as Crispy comes in the pits. Crispy said, all right, I got passed, I'm going to pit. But Crispy was on the soft, so...
Yeah, looks like it was time for him to come in.
Yeah, his front left was pretty dead.
Moose now with open air. And probably fresher tires than the rest of these guys. Yeah, he's definitely going to be trying to catch these back. And it looks like he's doing so right now. Again, a strength of that 4C, I think, maybe similar to the NSX a bit, where it's really, really good in the turns and whatnot. Oh, wrong person. Sorry, not purple. Purple's in no man's land currently. But,
yeah, Purple's having his own race right now.
We're back on board with Moose. Come on, means jump to Spec and hit the wrong button. There we go. So Specs now is second behind Arctic. He's got to be sweating about Tony. We've said it before, and I'll say it again. Just about the oppressive aura that Tony Cal seems to have on some of these drivers. Having Tony in your rearview mirror just kind of, makes you a little nervous as he comes down on the chicane. Tony's right on the behind of Specs. Mooseman right on the behind of Tony Cal, and Specs makes a little bit of a mess as he starts to pit. This lap, excuse me.
Yeah, I'll tell you that Tony Cal looks like he outbroke himself and gave Specs a little love tap in the back. Okay. It doesn't look like it upset either one of them, or it could have just been some rubber banding.
But Moose now having to run on Tony Cal, taking advantage of the fact that Tony and Specs were fighting so much, and taking advantage of those fresher tires. He says, "Thank you very much, sir. I'll help be on my way." As Moose is going to go try to catch up to Arctic. We see Demon, who was running in second, now pitting. Looks like they may be on mediums again.
They came back out on mediums. I don't blame them for pitting because that was, they had 12-second gap, I think, between P2 and 3.
Yeah, and once again, though, we see we see the track limits that Moose was talking about at the top of the hill of Sector 1. That's it's going to bite him because Tony Cal is looking hungry, second and a half away, and that 1 second penalty is going to feel like 2 or 3 by the time it's over.
That's exactly right. Delpis has come out on the hards, believe it or not.
Interesting.
Yeah. Going from medium to hards, maybe just looking for a stint. I don't know what their fuel looks like, but notably Specs is pit, and he came out on the softs and only had 75% fuel. So they're looking just to...
Uh-oh. Do we have a mic drop? But not the good kind?
Yeah, I apologize. My microphone fell off this damn stand. Yeah, so I'm sorry. I was saying Specs came out on the softs and only fueled up 75% of the way. So I think they pretty well measured, though. They know their car, it looks like to me.
I guess I know my car, yeah.
Give me a moment to screw my microphone back on.
Absolutely, yes. We see Gillia's down in the pits, and it comes back out ahead of Demon, it looks like. So Gillia only down to 4th with fresh tires. And let's jump on board with Tony Cal, see what that difference is 13 seconds. Gilly will be catching up though on those fresh tires and fuel. I'm sure Tony's gonna be pitting here in the next lap or so. Jump back on board with Moose, who is building a gap from Tony, and again with those fresher tires and the softer tires and the mediums compared to Arctic's hards. He's pulling alongside on this straight, and I'm sure he'll be passing him in no time here, just like that. Arctic, I'm sure, is going to be feeling the need to pit here soon. But good job to Mooseman for, I mean, with penalties and all, man, just he pit at the right time, and he was able to come back and fight these guys to pull ahead into first. However, if the others are pitting soon after him, you know, we'll have to wait and see as the race progresses and as we get closer to the end of the race, how these guys keep flip-flopping between pit stops. Who's going to end up on top? Who's going to end up trying to catch up at the end of the race?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think, again, this pit strategy is really important. We saw it in Barcelona. We're going to see it here as well.
Big Daddy.
Or you just responding to the Big Daddy Cash Dicks. What a username.
That's a fun one. Just tuned in. What happened to Gilly, and are the standings reflective of pits? No, so the game doesn't really take pit stops into consideration. So it just live. So as people pit, it'll show them getting lower and lower. It doesn't take into account how many times someone has pit or anything like that. So Gilly just pit, and he was in first, and so he pit, and now he's down in fourth. But he's on fresher tires than everyone ahead of him, basically, so he'll be catching up. Last I checked, he was 13 seconds behind Tony Cow, but Tony is, that gap's now 15 seconds, but Tony's going to be pitting. He's got to pit now, so...
yeah, Arctic's got to be pitting as well.
Yeah, these guys have been running pretty lean. It's Winter. Oh, my, Winter, man. I don't like calling Winter Big Daddy. You haven't earned that title yet from me.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're actually going to jump on board here. I wanted to catch up with Gilly because he pit after Demon up. Demon was running second and came out fifth. And then Gilly pit like a lap later and then it ended up fourth. So he had built that gap between first and second by quite a bit. Tony Cal gets passed in the pits. Looks like... now, Tony was on the hards previously, right?
Yeah, Tony and Arctic started on the hards.
Okay, so... I would be surprised if he stays on the hards. I think he'll go mediums.
Yeah, me too.
Everyone even on stops. No, it's all over the place now. Winter, it is all over the place. I think.
Yeah, I think the last few people, Tony, Mr. and Arctic were the last two to pit.
Yeah. Has Crispy pit yet? He has. So I guess now everyone's easier.
Yeah, Crispy went from soft to mediums.
We have Delps, who has pit. That's right, he's on the hards now. Takia pit super early, actually. And it looks like they may have just pit again. So Takia's on a second pit. Looks like they just got out. And Labu over here is on softs at the moment. So I don't think Labu's pit again, though. I could be wrong.
Well, Labu started on softs, and I guess went to softs again, which I'm surprised by.
Yeah, maybe they still have the confidence in the other tires. I mean, they're going to have to find confidence in the other tires, though.
Yeah, maybe they're just taking advantage of it being night, you know? The lower track temperature and not eating up the softs as much.
Possibly. Yeah. Come on. We'll see where Tony has ended up. Tony ends up out of the pits, and he is about 3.5 seconds ahead of Crispy.
And as predicted, he is on the mediums.
Yep. Okay, cool. Arctic, I'm sure, is going to do the same thing as we see him.
I would imagine.
Exit the pits, yeah. Yeah, these guys were running lean, Winter. We had a Tony getting a little excited over there, carrying a little bit too much speed.
Yeah, those fresh tires, man. You gotta treat them right.
Give him match. That's right. I forgot. Winter and Yuma are teammates, I guess, for BMW. Not that we've seen Winter race yet, so who knows?
Yeah. Winter, when are we gonna see you? Stop traveling.
No, he says. Winter, have you noticed that Moose is yet on another manufacturer? He's with Alpha now. Dan goes from Nissan to Lamborghini. Did he test anything else? I can't remember.
I don't believe so. I think he went straight from the Lambo to the Alpha. Listen, this man's changing manufacturers more than I change boxers, and that could say a lot about me, or it says a lot about me. So you decide. I'm just saying. I'll leave that up to you.
I was just saying. Yeah. Well, I mean, listen. Right now, Moose, it seems to be working out for him, but he will be pitting sooner than someone like Gilly, who is on a fresh set of tires. But with a 20-second gap, he might end up in like third or fourth place, depending on the way through the pit stop.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah.
I mean, he's got fresh air in front of him too. He's got no one he's catching right now. Gilly as well has put in fresh air behind them. Demon, Demon's doing pretty well this race. It looks like he made up a lot of spots in the first lap and has been able to maintain that track position for the most part, even throughout pits. So
yeah, Demon, we saw some good times coming from Demon this week while he was practicing for this race. Demon, I think, though, just needs to be consistent. It doesn't, again, and we keep saying it, consistency is the name of the game. You have to be fast, yes, but you can't just be fast across 1, 2, 5 laps. We have 66 laps in this race, 65 not counting the safety car lap. You just have to be consistent through that. If you're consistent and quick within your capacity, all the better, right? Whether that's first or second, third, sixth place, it doesn't matter. You don't want to end up crashing.
No, I mean, looking at his times on the right, I mean, obviously there's the outlier, like the outlap and whatnot, but other than that, his times are looking pretty great as far as consistency goes. And that's exactly what you want to see. A drama-free afternoon for Demon would do great as far as points go in the overall championship. And
that's exactly right.
I would be happy to be where I mean, granted, yeah, you want to have some fun and get your elbows out. But at the same time, if he's got clear behind and in front of him, this is exactly what you want. You're just racing yourself at this point. So
Mr. Labu is having a run up on Delps here for P9. Now, Labu is on the softs and has much less, about a half tank less fuel than Delps. So it should be an easy move for Mr. Labu, but how much how much time is he gonna make up once he gets past him? Those softs don't have all the life in the world.
No, not at all. And we're on board with him now. And I know Dubs was saying that the Ford is a bit tougher to drive, but I'm sure it's got to have the pace in the straights, which we're going to be coming up to here in a second. So if he can try and build a bit of a gap here, I'm sure he would like that very much. Get Labu out of his rearview mirror.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming up on 3/4 of a lap now where Labu's been right behind him. So, maybe it's just the straights right now where Delps has that speed, but we'll have to see.
We'll see. We're half a second, just about, not changing much. Actually dropping it a little bit, if anything, it looks like. But that could have also been a better exit due to the softer tire. I'm not really sure.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wonder if Delps is just getting his hard tires out of the way and we'll jump back on the mediums.
Yeah, I mean, it's a curious choice, because, again, you don't have to use all 3 tire compounds. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Right?
Delps started on mediums.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the opposite strat right now of Arctic and Tony Cow.
Yeah, true. I imagine they'll go right back to mediums. I don't see
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't go for hards at night, but hey, maybe they didn't really get practice, and maybe they get the strategize for this race.
That's true, and I mean, Labu is coming down with this gap between them is lessening as we cross another lap, or as this next lap goes on. It'd be interesting to see. All right, both get. Labu gets a good exit, I think, from that corner, and he's in a slipstream as well, though, so can't forget that.
Yeah, Labu's got to be a little bit brave, though. They have the tires, they have the car, they're lower on fuel.
If we jump on,
got to be brave on those brakes here.
Poland's alongside Delps here now, just a tiny bit behind. Is he getting? Oh man, we're going side by side through the chicane. All right.
Oh, fantastic driving.
Good driving, boys. Good driving, boys.
Keep it clean.
No taps, no taps. Oh, baby. Delps barely keeps it ahead of Labu. Well, Labu is going to have to pit next lap, I imagine, for gas.
Yeah, I don't think Labu's going to last much longer. Mooseman came out of the pit for a full tank of fuel and some new mediums. Came out like 1.5, 2 seconds ahead of Demon and P3. So Demon on some used mediums might have some more pace behind him because his fuel load is lighter, but this is looking really good for Mooseman.
Oh, Jess, don't say that Jared's holding you hostage.
Do we have to take someone?
Unless that's not Jess. I don't know what just.
Yeah, didn't Jared?
Well, yeah, but
They mentioned some.
Yeah, that's because it just sleeps till like noon every day. That should count.
I remember when I was 16.
Anyway, let's take a look up actually as we I was just gonna take a look at these guys. So Demon goes into the pits, allowing Specs to take third from him. It'll be interesting to see how far down Demon ends up pitting, but again, or getting at once he's out of the pits. But I think he's in a good cycle at the moment where, you know, he's pitting. Tony Cow also pits. Interesting. Okay.
Interesting. Sakia back in sixth place is right behind Crispy Crispy's in sixth. Sakia's in 11th. Is right behind him. Wild to see. I can't believe how fast these cars are lapping around each other.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not the longest track in the world, right? You know, a minute 20, minute 19 we're getting right now, so.
As Demon comes out on the softs.
Another soft stint, really.
Yeah, medium soft for them.
Interesting.
Tony Cal coming out on the softs.
Okay, maybe they just want to make him. I'm not, you know, I haven't really been in the race as much where I've had to worry about multiple pit stops like this, so it's interesting to see. Maybe they just felt better and they realized the fuel saving isn't really worth it. Specs has got to be coming in now as he comes into the pits for another fuel stop. I'm sure we'll be seeing, I don't know if we'll be seeing sauce back on him. We'll jump on board with Purple.
Well, I'll tell you, every driver that just pit, Demon, Tony Cal, and Mr. Labu are all on softs.
Very interesting. Maybe the softs are the way to go. We were all saying before that the race that we didn't think softs were going to see that much play. They're seeing a lot more than I anticipated.
Much more. Yeah, much more than I think any of us saw coming.
Crispy going to be enjoying this track position while he's got it, though.
Oh, absolutely. And make those mediums last, Crispy.
Finally a race that he didn't get punted in the very beginning, so I'm sure Crispy's happy to be here.
Oh, I'm sure. Crispy's like, oh, finally. Looking good in that GTR, I gotta say.
Yeah, I hope that he's happy with the GTR. I think it's a car that feels good. You know, compared to the Lamborghini. Well, he also tried the Lexus, and I remember him saying
he looked good.
Yeah, I remember him saying that the Lexus felt good on tires as well and fuel, but it didn't have the power. So maybe this GTR for him is just a happy medium. It's his Goldilocks car.
Is it just right, Papa?
Don't call me that, thanks.
Papa Bear?
We're gonna check on with Gilly over here, who's on softs again. Man, it's the car or Gilly, I don't know what, but he seems like he's like tire whisperer, dude.
Yeah, he's definitely the tire whisperer of our series, that's for sure.
It would be nice to see if there was like if there was a lap counter of the laps that they've been on the tires in game.
Yeah, I do wish that Polyphony, Sony, Gran Turismo, whoever you want to blame, was a bit nicer to, you know, third-party clients having more access to the data. Imagine. But
this is someone who, you know, didn't have much practice coming into the coming into the race, and here we are. He had the fastest lap in qualifying, and is now maintaining first place in the race so far, and is maintaining a gap as well between first and second. So kudos to Gilly for coming in here. But
absolutely,
anything can happen. One mistake. We're a bit under halfway through this race, and anything can happen.
I'll tell you, you just missed, but Tony Cal, that turn one into the S's really looked like his cup of tea. Took over Purple for P8 without a problem. Tony does have tire advantage on softs versus Purple's mediums, but that was just classic Tony Cal.
Missed the Tony Cal. So Purple, Was purple in our first race? I can't remember. I cannot.
I don't
remember.
believe purple was in our first menu, but they were in the. I think we did a lobby with them, and they did the MX Cup. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. They were there last week.
Yeah, and last week they did pretty well. Again, not the fastest racer, I don't think, but able to hold their own and consistent for the most part. It looks like.
Hey, yeah, and it seems like when they are racing others, though, that they are respectful, and they're so that's important for sure to have people on the grid that can actually race other people. You know who
Exactly
I am a bit surprised
right.
about though is Labu, who I don't know, I don't know if it looks like they might have some damage on the front end. I can't really tell. Unless that's a livery thing. Or what that would have been.
I don't see any damage on their diagram, so.
No, yeah. But I'm surprised that they are down in 10th, to be completely honest.
I'm shocked after the first, bit of racing we saw with Labu. Maybe this track just isn't suiting them.
That's true. It's true. Maybe they had a little bit less practice this week compared to the other. But either way, killing it on the on the livery game at the very least, Labu. So and
that's not the helmet game.
Not the. Well, I don't know. I like it. It makes me laugh whenever I see Labu's helmet livery.
I'll tell you, Demon is closing in on Delps for P5. Demon again on the. Demon has the faster tire on Sauce versus Delps Hards, but Delps is gonna have to pit here, so looks like a pretty good concede to Demon for P5. I'd be shocked. Oh, Delps stays out. Their fuel is looking quite low. Now, just for those that don't know, if you run out of fuel here in our series, you cannot use the limp mode to get back to the pits. If you run out of fuel, you pull over and you exit the race. That is a DNF.
Disqualified.
That's right. So really curious from Delps. I mean, I didn't see if they filled up all the way, but to put on hards and then just run out of, run this low on fuel, I'm shocked. The hards, especially at night, were not the move for that.
Maybe it was just see how long they last, Obviously,
yeah,
those
possibly.
tires still have a lot of life in them.
Yeah, they have a lot of life left in them.
But I mean, Demon realistically just has to be patient. Then Demon, I think, should probably nurse those softs a bit. No, he does have specs right behind him, so he can't rest that much.
Yeah, what are specs is on the mediums right now, so specs though can really catch up and use the toe from Demon to really catch up and possibly overtake both Demon and Delps.
Yeah, that's very true. But Specs also someone that I think he can be patient. With the fact that he's on those tires, the medium tires, so he should be able to get a bit of a longer stint out of them as we still see Delps heading pits. This is when I would, as Specs, would probably put the hammer down. Because Demon's going to be doing the same exact thing now that he's got
That's exactly right. Clean air, softer tire for Demon. Just send it and make as much space up as you can. Giller pitted and came out on the softs again. We see Crispy coming out of the pit in a few. And, so these pit strategies I think are definitely coming to play. Obviously, your speed is as well. But Giller's ability just to whisper sweet nothings to those tires and make them last is something else.
And the fact that he pit and we're still almost 30 seconds. I mean, the top three, forget about it. It's like a whole nother, race that they're having at this point. And even then,
that's exactly right. Oh, Delps not doing themselves any favors. Comes out of the pits, gets a 3-second penalty for crossing the pit lane. They only pitted for fuel, and they're still on their hards.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting choice, actually. Because I think we do have a fairly high refuel rate, and I know some people were talking about possibly lowering that a little bit. What position is Delps? 10th?
Delps is in P10, yeah. But they're gonna have to slow down here. Their 3-second penalty is gonna eat up a lot of time. They're just gonna let Crispy get away from them.
Yeah, that's
and not
a shame
far
about the penalty.
Yeah, not far behind them. It looks like is Sakia.
Sakia is 46 seconds behind.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was looking at the map. I was looking at the wrong person.
Yeah, they
So we got the first 1 or 2, 3 spaces are in their own race. Last place is in their own race. But again, pit strategies can really make a difference here.
I'm interested to see how this strategy plays out actually for Delps. That's because not needing to. I mean, I still think fuel might be the longer part of the change. But if he can save time in a pit stop without having to swap tires, it might be worth it at the end. He might be able to
Absolutely, I agree.
With it seems like the Ford is drinking fuel like it's its job, which is its job.
It's America,
You know,
it's
oil.
thirsty.
But he could probably get almost another full tank out of these hards. So no need for fuel savings right now. He can just go, and yeah. So that'll be interesting to see if he's able to shave off any time of the guys ahead of him. I mean, especially looks like he's at the end of the day might be fighting for, as the pit stops roll out, might be fighting for 8th or 7th. Not really sure at this point in the race. We're just about halfway through, just under halfway through this race. So we still kind of have to wait for things to settle down. But I'm sure he doesn't want to be 10th. That's what I know for sure. I mean, the point drop off is pretty steep, and definitely wants to be probably higher in the midfield.
Absolutely, I agree. Speaking of higher than midfield, Arctic, one of our faster racers since they've joined us recently, having an awful moment coming out of the pits there. They pitted, they came out on mediums, they got a 3-second penalty, and then I think they just avoided hitting the wall, but they got squarely on the S's and sacrificed, I think, one spot there to Specs. And now they've got Purple right behind him, ready to scoop up the spot after they serve this penalty. Again, going wide there, you gotta let the tires warm up, especially right now at night.
That's while you're watching now, we're watching Tony Cal trying to overtake Demon here as we come up on the chicane. Tony Cal has had a good run as Demon goes through the grass on the chicane, could not break in time, and Tony Cal goes past, taking 3rd place. Specs, though, right behind, half a second behind Tony Cal.
Real shame for Demon there to spin out. We were just talking about consistency.
We were, but however, Tony Cal was on the soft, or is on the soft, let's say, but their left side, their rear left, is crying for help. So he looks like he's got some more fuel. I don't know if it's gonna be worth it to try and hold on for the few laps, or just pit. Take the fact that you have to refuel a bit less and go onto a different tire. We're gonna jump on board with Specs real quick. He's on mediums, a bit more fuel, and we're actually going to try and get this. It's a bit different in night, this point of view.
Yeah, that's for sure, but it's very, again, this is what the driver's seeing. And if you're racing cockpit view, number one, I give you a lot of benefits. But if you race in real life at dark, you get the utmost respect from me.
That's too spooky for me.
Yeah, too spooky for me too. Now, as you're watching that fight go on, after his spin out, Demon was relegated, I think, down to P8 or 9, and then while pitted is now P10, and came out on the mediums and fueled up. I think they just said, you know what, I made a mistake, I'm going to go back in and go for a longer stint. So we'll see how it pays out for them.
I think that's a good
I agree.
idea. And maybe almost kind of undercut the guys ahead of him. As Tony now enters the pits, and Specs will take 3rd place. Specs definitely has a handful more laps on these mediums as we go back to our other camera view here. And
we got Arctic coming up on lobby, not to interrupt you.
Absolutely. Let's check that out here. So Wabu up in 6th right now, track position because of pit stops, it looks like. 5th now because Tony's in the pit. So Arctic, a little bit of rubber banding, looks like. That is a tough thing here. Well, I know we said before, but with the international, we have people from all over the world trying to join the lobby. Unfortunately, we'll see a bit of lag or rubber banding here and there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but so far, things seem to be pretty good overall. We did, in last week's Amex Cup race, see a lot of it. Really odd to see because we saw so many a few collisions come up because of it, but so far so good this week.
Yeah, well, that was definitely a closer race last week to do with the MX5 Cup at Tsukuba.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I was honestly pretty surprised today how quickly the grid spread.
I'm shocked myself, but again, that could just be people, how brazen are you feeling on this track? And maybe being very aware of of the collisions that could very easily happen on this track. Again, coming at the end of Sector 1 to that uphill section could spell disaster, and thankfully we didn't really see anything. We saw some contact later on the track, but not where you would have expected it.
That's true. And yeah, that could have also played a part, I suppose. As we're on board with Crispy right here, who is getting blue flags for Moose, who's going to lap. So Moose running in the first right now. Again, someone who has proven to be pretty quick. Now, Chris, I wonder when they're going to get out of the way here and where, because you really can't get out of the way on the S's, but you also don't want to ruin your own race. As Moose ends up going wide. Oof. Now let's see where Moose ended up going, but Crispy does not have blue flags anymore.
Who was that, was almost parked there? Was that Arctic that looked like they were parked?
I don't actually. Where did Moose go? Is Moose still in first after going wide? He's still in first after going wide.
Still in first.
But he's got damage on the front end. He's going to have to pit this next lap. He's going to have to pit before the next lap.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And unfortunately, that lead that he had is now gone, down to 11 seconds. Gilly is going to see that time drop, and, he's going to be thanking someone, because that's exactly what he needed. Jump on board real quick with Gilly. He's on the soft tires, but we've seen time and time again this guy knows how to make those tires last. And, he's 35 seconds ahead of Specs in third. So he's going to get ahead of Mooseman again. Moose, though, Moose might end up just in front or just behind Specs at this rate, depending on what he has prepared for the pits. In the pits.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And for Giller, if I were him, I would just send it as soon as he gets in the pits. As soon as he gets past Delpas, who's in front of the back marker in front of him, who should be getting out of his way now, coming up at the main straight, just got to go. He's got the fuel, he's got the soft tire, just lay it all to waste and create as much space as you can.
He wants clear air. We're going to jump on board real quick with Specs, actually, because I want to see where Moose ends up as he's refueling, and he's going to have to repair his front end at the end of this. So let's jump on board with Specs to see where things end up. Specs is he's got 10 seconds in fourth. He's feeling pretty good, but depending on where Moose ends up, he's going to want to push right now, or he's going to want to end up having to defend. But he's on warm mediums at this point, so he's not going to be able to do a whole lot against Moose.
This is going to be very close with the two of them, as I see Mooseman coming out.
Mooseman is out. Okay.
And Mooseman's out on fresh mediums. So not as close as I thought it would have been.
I thought it was going to be a little bit closer too. Yeah, okay. And did Moose fuel up as well? Let's double check.
Yeah, everything is good on Moose.
Okay, wow. Good job to him.
Good job as we see Labu coming to the pits next.
Yeah, so now Moose is up in second. He's got 26 seconds behind Gilly and 10 seconds above Specs in third. Again, this is now his race to just put his head down and put some laps in. Try to make those mediums last. Gilly's going to have to pit soon, and on those softs, he'll probably be pitting with the next few laps. And that's that. Moose will be holding first place again. So we're gonna go down the line here real quick on the screen here, check in with the rest of the grid. So we have Specs in third here, who, like we say, kind of no man's land at the moment. 10 seconds on either side of him. He can just put his head down and do a few laps before he has to pit. Down in fourth, we're on board with Purple Urkel in the black and gold Renault. Again, someone almost a similar position to Specs. Warm mediums. He's gonna have to pit soon. Less than a quarter tank, or less than a third of a tank rather, of fuel. And again, kind of in no man's land. If he pits, he'll end up behind Crispy, being a 21, 22 second gap here. We'll jump on board with Crispy real quick. And wow, we talk about a spread grid, man.
Yeah, it's again really surprising to see, honestly.
Oh no, and unfortunately Dina from Arctic, who's having some shoulder problems. Arctic, I'm sorry to hear that. That's unfortunate.
That sucks. You're running a good race.
Man, shoulder hurting and on controller, even not even on a wheel.
Yeah, that's when you know you're in a rough spot.
That's bad. You were doing a good job otherwise, though. I'm sorry to see you go like that. The rest of the grid, however, that was behind you is going to be thanking you for dropping out. That just shows the confidence that Arctic has when he says, I'll forfeit the points this time because my shoulder's bothering me. I'll be back next time.
That's exactly right. We know Arctic's got some pace, so you nurse that shoulder up, and I'm looking forward to seeing it in the next race, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. As we see here, Tony with blue flags. This is not a spot that I'm sure Tony wants to be in. Have to give way to Gilly behind him? Where he's
it's not something we
Gilly.
usually see. Yeah, absolutely. Tony Callis is not having a great race. Maybe that Peach Crown did him a little dirtier last night than he anticipated.
Maybe he should have followed Woods' steps and swapped the manufacturers 5 times.
You know what? That might have been a healthier choice.
But
now, Specs is coming out of the pit. They're coming down the pit lane now. And looks like they'll be clear for P4.
No, P5.
Yeah, P5 is...
he's on soft.
No, Specs is out. They're on softs with the 3/4 of the tank.
He did 75 on the fuel with softs again. So, alrighty. Let's continue on down the grid. We've got Labu in 7th. Brand new softs basically, and again, that's 3/4 of the tank. And he's just ahead of Demon. But Demon is on, not too bad either. He's got slightly worn mediums and a half tank of fuel. And again, Demon's proven quick on this track. I think Demon has overall pace advantage compared to Labu.
Yeah, I got to agree with that there. Demon, I think, has just been, they did have that spin out, but we have a little less than half the race to go, and if they can make up that space with that pace, you like that rhyme there? They're definitely going to still be a contender. I'm not a rapper.
But I'm not a rapper. You know who?
Arctic. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say behind Delps behind Demon we have Delps. There's 2.5 seconds behind, but on these hards, this is okay. So now that we've had a few laps go by, we're able to see Delps. I think that was a pretty good choice. He's on the hard tires, but he refueled without changing the tires. So at this point, though, what do you think his next pit stop's going to be?
I think they've got to go for something faster if they want to get out of this P9 area.
I agree. I think they're...
right now they've got 2 seconds to Demon. That's a lot of time to make up, so I say they've got to start sending it on the mediums, go full power.
Oh, as we go cutting the one a little bit there. Yeah, that, I agree. I think... I'm curious to see how his car would handle the 3/4 of a tank of fuel and softs that we're seeing from other drivers.
Yeah, I think it might work out well, to be honest. And, with that soft, again, especially at night, it's going to last longer. And I think it's worth experimenting with if I was Delps. While you're reviewing this, we did see Specs overtake Crispy without much of a problem. I hate to say it now. Specs obviously...
Delps spin out.
Delps!
No,
that is not helping them here.
Then that was just the end of the S's. I think he was carrying a little bit too much speed. And now he's got front damage and front right damage on the tire. That is not what you want to see. So he's definitely, if I were him, I would pit this lap.
Yeah, I think I would pit as well and just go ahead and get onto the soft tires, fuel up to 75%, try something new to make up some pace. As Mooseman's right behind them, they're going to have to give way for those blue flags. Delps seems to be a little hesitant sometimes to give up the, and I understand you not wanting to ruin your race, but it looks like they're going to give the space there. Okay.
He's just home to the right for him.
But so before I was saying, Crispy really didn't seem to be able to fight off Specs. Now, yes, Specs was on the softer tires, but Crispy's mediums still have plenty of life in them to do some fighting. Maybe just knowing this isn't my fight or something. I don't know. It was just an interesting choice.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wonder. Oh, when I was saying I wonder if maybe he just has. It is nighttime. I'm gonna have the experience fighting Specs as well, or maybe he was just kind of giving extra room for any sort of lag. We do know that Specs has a potato as a hotspot. So I can't imagine maybe racing against him isn't the easiest, and he'd say, I'd rather not get too close. Let's just let's both live to run another lap here. Or at the same time, like I said, what track position right now, Crispy? If we jump on board with him, he's on some worn mediums, and he's got a little less than a quarter tank of fuel, so he's definitely got a few more laps in him. But he's got the track position right now. But I think the rest of the grid beneath him is fairly close compared to the top three. So he wants to hold on to that for now and just say, specs, we can have it. As we see Gilly in the pits once again, I don't know what his gap between is. So it'll be interesting to see what spot he ends up taking.
Looks like 26 seconds right now.
Okay, that's pretty good. So he'll probably end up behind Moose, I imagine.
Maybe? I don't know.
Let's jump on board with Moose. Yeah, Moose is now on the, and we'll jump on board with Bro, a minute and change. Okay, well that's before the pit stop. That's not counting for the pit stop. I think that's pretty wild.
Yeah, as Gilly's just coming out on the pit lane right now. 60, what is that, 11 second difference? Yeah, 10 to 10 and a half seconds to Moose Man up front. So
okay. Is he actually a minute? So the time isn't even up. That he's there. They're that far ahead. That's amazing. That's
incredible. Yeah, that is. Oh, Graz, Tony having her on and Crispy here.
Let's check this
Respectful.
out. Little love taps here and there, but nobody's worse for wear there. It looks like Tony Cal. Oh man, Crispy does a good job going defensive there, keeping Tony behind just a little bit longer. I think
Tony Cal got a tow from Gilly, who was in front of him.
Yeah.
He gave it the blue flag and said, "I'll take the tow."
Absolutely, and there's no way there's any passing here, but we know Tony is good in this first sector here. So, barring any mistakes, he's going to be right on the back end of Crispy as we go onto this first straight here on the uphill section.
Just as we were talking about how the grid is opened up, man, we've got that fight between Crispy and Tony.
Man,
we've got Demon coming up on purple.
Holy mackerel. I went to change camera views, and Tony was right alongside Crispy.
Oh, what a good little battle they had there.
That impressive aura.
Good for you, Crispy. We like that.
Crispy, unfortunately, has a half-second penalty as well. I'm not sure what that's from, if that was from any sort of contact or a
half second sounds like track limits there, yeah.
Yeah, probably at the tail end of sector one.
That's unfortunate.
Unfortunate, but, Crispy's still
holding no!
What happened to Labu?
Looks like Labu spun out, and thankfully no one else got damaged, I think, but Labu, unfortunate.
Front end damage, that's going to give... It's going to give Demon a run up on Purple, who's
they were already fighting.
Yeah, okay. Oh, man, that's unfortunate for Labu.
Labu just not having a good time today.
Demon, another problem. Crispy's going to love that track position, but the moment he has to pit, he's going to fall back down, probably behind Labu, but he'll be ahead of Delps. Now, hopefully Crispy can put some quick laps in before he has to pit again.
And it's funny, Delps must have pit and listened to us because Delps is on softs with about 3/4 of a tank of fuel. So
there we go. Well, I guess Delps does have a history of listening to the stream while he's racing. So
that's true. That's true. Speaking of the stream, Arctic saying they don't think they've ever had a race this long before. My body wasn't ready. I gotta tell you, Arctic man, I feel you, especially as a controller driver. Oh yeah, the rigs, blah blah blah. Your hands just start hurting, cramping. It's not great. I think I've played for about 4.5 hours in one of my, my earlier days of getting Gran Turismo, and my hands were shot. Tony Cal texts me within a half hour of me getting off. Hey, you want to do this race series tonight? So I put it like another hour and a half. I didn't touch the game for 3 days.
It's a lot. This game, especially the grind on this game, I feel it's a lot, especially like in the very beginning when you're doing all the menu bugs and everything like that. It can be a lot.
Yeah, it adds up. You got the menu books, you've got the licenses especially, and then I jump straight into the sport races as soon as I can because that's where I thrive, right? Especially since the single-player game does not let you actually race. I think it's the most ridiculous thing. We can have this talk again and again and again, but...
I agree. As we see, Demon and Crispy pit. The Crispy gonna end up, let's see here, jump on board with Labu real quick, who is also in the pits.
Well, Labu's pitting as well, yeah.
So they'll all, Crispy and Demon will be ahead of Delps and Labu at this point. We'll get out of the pits real quick and run down the board one more time. So let's jump in with our current race leader, the Boost Man, the changer of manufacturers.
Boost Man.
As he rides a curb going down these S's, man. I bet that 4C feels great at that portion of the track.
Oh, it's got to be a blast to drive. I cannot wait to get my rig set up.
Oh man, another track limits. I don't know if it's just that because I happen to check on Moose every time at the end of Sector 1 or what, but I wish there was a counter for the amount of track limits that we had in game, because I think Moose is probably pushing a little bit. He doesn't really have to push that much.
Oh, Labu comes out of the pits and spins.
Oh, another one.
Labu, what is going on here, bud?
Oh, Labu. So is that gonna open the door for Delps? Yeah, Delps is now past Labu.
Yep.
So we'll run down the list here. We got Gilly in second with a healthy 38-second gap between him and third. He's got brand new saw. Oh my God, dude, Gilly with this tire wear, it's great. I love it.
It's absolutely. They got to be doing that for the entire race. I do not blame them.
Yeah, it's wild. Specs on used softs here. He'll probably be pitting here within the next few laps. There's a 13-14 second gap. Tony in fourth. Now, no, Tony's in fifth. Did Purple just pass Tony? I could have sworn Tony was in fourth just all of a sudden. Maybe I'm seeing things, but either way, Purple is going to be enjoying this track position. Relatively fresh mediums in fourth place. I mean,
it's that consistency again.
Listen, he's not really. I think Purple also hasn't really been. I mean, not that I've seen at least on screen this much, but maybe they're not like they just happen to be pitting and stuff like that in relatively open air. Like they're not fighting people, or maybe they're getting around all the. Maybe Tony went wide somewhere, and
yeah, it's possible for sure. Tony's tires are looking a little worse for wear.
Wow, yeah.
Up front, we see Specs just driving along. They've got almost 40 seconds to Gilly in front of them and about 24 to Purple behind them. So when they do pit, which will be probably within the next couple of laps, it's going to be pretty much a free pit stop. Purple's looking just fine. Tony Cow's getting out the pit sooner rather than later. Right now, it looks like they've got a free pit stop behind them to Crispy. And, Crispy's running on softs on a full tank of fuel. So see how that treats them. Demon on fresh mediums. Again, I do like the mediums on that Porsche. I think it feels pretty damn good. I don't care for the hards on the Porsche. That much I'll say.
We're going to jump on the Delps behind him on the soft. Honestly, I think this might be working. Well, then I was going to say working out for Delps. But we did have the horrific spin out and accident of Labu behind him now. Listen, Delps hopefully can maintain this track position with the rest of the pits for the next 20 laps of the race, and I would be fairly happy. I forget where Delps qualified, but if he can maintain 8th, I would consider that a win for today. After having not stellar race, I'd say, and he also had that incident in the beginning, so I think that kind of spelled out the rest of his race. Unfortunately,
I have to agree. But so far, some people have been struggling here as Crispy's coming up on the penalty line with a 1.5 second penalty, and we see Demon just cresting the hill behind him. This is going to close that 4.5 second gap there, and Crispy does have the softer tires, but we'll have to see. Crispy again. I like Crispy a lot. Hasn't been the bravest driver in some cases, but that GTR seems to be working well for them, so we might have a little battle here for P6 on our hands. Yeah, that gap is down to 1.4 now between Crispy and Demon.
Crispy, unfortunately,
Sakia going off mowing the lawn too on fresh hards.
Oh no. I was gonna say Crispy, maybe saying he's not the greatest, but I think, listen, I would be scared to battle people if I continue, whenever I got close to someone, something bad happened to me, right? I wouldn't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
So, and maybe in this league, I would for sure be, if I was racing, I would be the first to admit, I'm not competing for podiums realistically. I would want to be, but I know my times just aren't there. So for me, I would just say, well, if I can maintain high midfield, I'll take. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I am. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh and Crispy because you want to play it safe. You want to drive as well as you can.
Number one.
Exactly.
If you can bring it home at the end of the day, you're getting points. That's good.
That's right. As Specs is on his way out of the pit lane, and looks like Mooseman's in the pits now as well. Specs coming out well ahead of Crispy on fresh mediums.
Where does this leave Purple? Purple is about 10 seconds ahead of Specs on kind of used mediums, halfway used mediums, let's say.
And Moose coming out on softs, yeah, with less than 75% fuel. So going for that pace again. I think just really trying to hammer it home that Moose is fighting for P1 here.
You know, he's probably also going fastest laps at this point. He knows he's got the gap in time. He's not too worried about it. And I think at the end of the day, podium is going to play, or first and second is going to come down to pit stops.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to strategy, I think.
They're just changing left and right here. Now, we are coming up on, we're almost at the 50th lap of the race. And they, you know, at this point in time, maybe are thinking, because they can see when the other driver's pitting, right? So, and what they're getting onto. So maybe they start thinking, you know, if I were Gilly, all right, when do I want to pit on something that can last long? You know, does he try to maintain track position or just throw sauce back on and you know?
Well, I'll tell you, Tony Cal must have had that same thought because Tony, I didn't see when he pit, but he's on hards now, and down in P8.
I guess he's just trying to outlast this one. I don't know if going the 16 laps on those hards, number one, is doable. Well, it's probably doable. So maybe he's hoping this will be his final pit. Do you think he can make fuel last that time, though?
I don't. I think the fuel's going to outlast the hards are going to outlast the fuel as Labu passes him. Tony Cal doesn't really put up a fight.
He's
Labu's on softs.
Tires, you know.
Fresh tires, Labu's on softs. You know, there's no fight there. So, Tony Cal does have a track limit penalty, though. That's unfortunate.
Let's see, I was going to say Arctic in the pits, but Arctic is DNF.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So Tony Cal, is he going to try and go the rest of the race? If he can.
I don't see it.
Maybe he'll be doing what Delps did earlier and only pitting for fuel and not tires.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility as well. Yeah, you could definitely do that. It's a strategy. I'm not sure if it's the strategy, but curious to see how it works out. I'm sure it'll become light sooner at some point. I don't think this entire race is really in the dark. What do you?
I don't think so. Sorry, I was just looking at Arctic asking how many laps the leaders have done. So they're on. Gilly's on his 51st lap. Oh, stops. How many stops? You know? I know. I wasn't.
Yeah, I've got them here. So Gilly has done. I actually only have 3, but I know that's not right.
Yeah, at a certain point,
I missed one.
I think the first race that we did Arctic, we wrote down every single stop, and it was kind of useful for commentary's sake, but it was like a big clutter on the spreadsheet. So we said,
I've been trying to do it.
Yeah.
Moose though has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow, but he's been just running the softs for almost the entire race, right?
Moose ran soft, 3 medium stints, and then a soft stint.
Okay.
Gilly did a few soft stints in a row. I know that for sure. Purple did soft to 3 mediums. And then Specs, the last one we'll go through, has done 4. They did medium soft. I'm sorry, 5. Medium soft, medium soft, medium. So, mixture of strategies here. Again, it depends on your car and everything, right?
Yeah, Arctic, we were saying before, I think before you jumped into the stream, we're seeing way more soft usage than we thought we were going to see. It's like, we were talking in the Discord before the race about maybe not seeing as much soft, but we've definitely seen more than I thought we were going to see. And when we saw you on the hards, there were a few other people starting on hards, and I thought that you were probably going to do just, the first stint on hards, you get the compound change done with, and then just go medium, 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 medium for the rest of the race. But we're seeing a few different strategies play out here. It does feel, because of the tire deg on this track and Barcelona, that it's, number one, it's hard to test, right? Because, you'd have to be doing another 90-minute test, basically, throughout the week or one day during the week, and that's a lot, for any of us to be doing. I think maybe, I don't know if we're going to do it for this season, but I think maybe the next season that we do Manufacturer Series, it may be good for us to test and take the data that we collect from this season to have track-specific tire day multipliers and fuel, I guess, at that point. No, I kind of think the 4-time fuel wear is pretty good. I don't think I would want any less than that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. I think, again, it lends itself to more strategy, and, you have the ability to choose, how much power you're using versus leanness. So I think it just allows for more strategy and stuff to play out, right? It's more dependent on you as a driver choosing what to do rather than just the game making up your mind.
I agree. Yeah, I had my sprack calculated. Said, yeah, it's sad to see someone DNF, man. Especially, when you were doing pretty well. So there's always next race, I suppose. Though I think the wear is fine. Yeah, I agree. I think going into the next few tracks, everyone who's been kind of commenting about the tire wear being a bit high in the Discord, I think we'll start seeing maybe it's actually okay. You know what I mean? We're going to jump on, we're just kind of moving down the track now on stream, checking out, seeing if there's any sort of action.
I wonder if something happened to Sakia.
Are they out?
Sakia's been sitting in the pits, yeah.
Uh-oh. Another one?
Yeah, I don't see anything in Discord or anything, but that's unfortunate.
Yeah. It's, what's funny to me too is that it feels like another one, exactly. It feels like most of the race has been in night. Unless maybe now we're finally just getting to dusk. Does it look like it's starting to brighten up a bit at all? I'm not sure.
Oh, here and there I think it does, unless it's just,
Yeah.
I keep thinking I see it brightening up, and then it's still dark.
Yeah. So let's see. Dubs looks like they've pitted once more. They're on fresh mediums. You got purple right behind them. At this point in time, Tony Cal, see how he's running so far. So Tony, listen, he's on a lap 52, but our leaders are a couple laps ahead. So Tony Cal might end up being able to make the rest of the race on those hards. If he's only going to make P8, I'm sure he's not going to be terribly happy with that result. Lavu is going to have to pit again. So if he can, Tony would definitely be ahead of Lavu if and when Lavu pits. And Crispy's going to have to, so Tony might be able to make it up to P6.
I get it. Again, yeah, I didn't want to jinx Tony earlier, but I when he told us, he was pretty drunk last night. I did want to warn him, maybe make sure you freshen up and get on top of this for this race. He's going to be sacrificing some points here, and we know he was a contender for front rows, so I'm sure he's not going to be too happy with it. But we have a lot more races this season, and the race isn't over yet. We've got how many 11 more laps to go, so not even 10.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. So actually, Lavu and Crispy are ahead of I think Tony for laps, so we'll see. Tony regretting that peach crown. Jared, is it ever a true regret though?
Yes.
Arctic asking if it was supposed to be a night race. I thought it started in the afternoon. Did it not?
It started lighter and then it went to night. Yes.
Yeah. It just, I guess.
I didn't have time to check exactly where the weather would go, or how fast he's got the time going. It seems like it got dark pretty quickly, but this night is rather long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This might be considered a fortnight. I couldn't see shit.
I kind of leave it to Tony, and if I have time, I'll get some laps in around the track so I can experience it. But this has just been a week for me.
Yeah. Real quick, we're gonna see. So Purple is pitting, who is running in third. Suspects down third though. 48 seconds behind Gilly. So Specs is definitely in the fight for third. He may have to pit one more time though, and Demon may be getting that pit over with. So it'll be interesting to see where Specs ends up into this. Demon will check on who is definitely got to pit sooner than later. as well.
I anticipate Specs having a pit. Gilly came out of the pits on fresh mediums and a bunch of fuel, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go to the end of the race, though.
If you were Specs, would you pit now and like fuel up, higher up, and just try to maintain that track position?
Yeah, I think I would.
He's got 20 seconds on Demon. I don't know if he would need a full tank of gas or not. That does seem pretty thirsty.
I'll tell you what, if I were Specs with Demon behind him and he could see the gap there, I would just send it until, and now he doesn't know what we know. He doesn't know that Demon's got the pit sooner rather than him, but once he sees Demon go into the pit, send it on that last lap, and then pit to answer Demon.
That's true. As we see Specs, or Delp's giving way to Specs on the, as we turn another lap here. Yeah, I agree. All right. I don't know if that was a bit of contact or what. But Specs was
it looks like Specs potato. Yeah. Yeah, well, Delpos had the blue flags, Yep.
I don't think the Jack can run a level. I don't think so either. I think it's pretty thirsty Pat, so we'll see. We'll see as Demon is now entering the pits. So, I mean, if you're going to do some fuel saving, I'm not sure. I would go in at 6-7 laps of the race. Okay. Interesting. We'll see.
Oh, Crispy catching up on purple. What the hell happened there?
Maybe Mr. Urkel had a few mistakes here. Crispy though on softs, very worn softs, and he's got Gilly behind, so he's gonna have to give away probably after the chicane, I'd imagine. Or I'm sorry, at the end of the S's.
Yeah, you don't want to give way on the S's. It just ruins everyone's line. It's not a good time.
Yep. And Purple behind him does have track limits. Dude, kudos to Crispy, man. I know he's gonna have to pit. He's gonna lose some track position, but like, I think he's having a pretty solid race for himself.
I definitely have to agree. I mean, Crispy may be getting driver of the day today.
Put your votes in now. So Arctic saying that he did a lot of fuel saving on their first spin, and you were saying fuel saving is something I need to get good at. So I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard that the best way to fuel save in the game is realistically just like short shifting, and doing some lifting and coasting. Yeah, yep, that's exactly what I was saying. Yes, yep. The fuel map is like not worth it at all. Just lifting, coast, and short shift, and you'll do well.
So we see Moose in the pits. Giller has passed him. If Gilly can make this last to the end of the race, it's going to come out on top.
Let's check on Gilly over here.
Mooseman, though, on the same tires, they're both on mediums, and Moose, importantly, did not fuel up all the way, but that means Giller and Moose are literally at the same fuel levels, and Giller on slightly more worn tires. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out for both of them, but right now this is looking like Gilly's race to lose.
Yeah, I think, listen, it's a close gap, though. They got just under 6 seconds, 5.5 seconds between the two of them. Now, granted, that you have feedback markers between them. Crispy's doing a fantastic job giving way, I think, though. Crispy's been respectful all along the track, and he's racing his own race. He knows that. He does have the purple in his rearview mirror, though, at this point in time. So...
Well, Crispy knew what he was doing. He gave way to Giller there, so he's got this toe on the straight. I mean, come on.
Oh, he's got a pit though. He's low on fuel.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
He's gonna stay. No, he's pitting. Okay. Oh no, is he staying out? Oh my gosh, this is a man once again says, "I know my car. I know how much."
Man is on a mission to build as much of a gap as possible, but he's not staying too close behind Giller. So any benefit really is going to be slipping away from him.
I don't think he's short shifting. He's trying to save fuel where he can.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake not to pit there. Looking at his front left being dead, he's so low on fuel. Oh, I think he'll make it to the end, but
I think he'll make it to the pit stop again. But this is a position where he's probably feeling a bit of pressure from Arkle, and he wants to be fast, but he doesn't have the fuel for it or the tires for it. So he has to be really, really careful. That tire, when it's dead, it's like driving on ice, right? So
yeah,
he's
absolutely.
gonna have to, and he's also got Moose behind them. So which will slow Purple down a little bit sooner, but Purple looks like he's getting a much better exit. Purple has made up that time in no time around that corner. He's under a second behind. Though it looks like Crispy may have actually gotten the better exit out of that, but Purple may also be letting, I think, Moose behind him go because he probably, I mean, he can't see what we're seeing, but maybe he's banking on Crispy having to pit and saying, I'll be patient. And that's what Purple just needs to do right now. Crispy's got to pit now. If Crispy doesn't pit, he's a madman. Crispy goes into the pits, letting Purple take 4th place for the time being. Purple probably making the rest of the race on these tires.
Yeah, I see them last in the rest of the race. And again, if they can try and keep up, they can get the toe and increase that gap to Crispy behind. But again, it's funny really seeing the difference of these back markers. I don't know if it's how they're letting the other drivers pass. They might be letting up too much of the gas and then not able to keep up on that straight to turn 1. Crispy now coming down the pit lane, 65% fuel. I think they'll do okay. They're on softs, so they're going to try to make up as much ground as they can. Will it be enough? I don't know.
I'm going to jump on board with Billy. All right, so he's still got 6.5 seconds between him and Moose. But they're on lap 66. We'll jump back on Tony because we wanted to check Tony, who he's got less than a half tanker. He's got about a third of the tanker-ish of fuel, and he's on these hards that are a bit warm, but they can definitely make the rest of the race. Now, how much does he have to fuel save to keep this track position? If he, I don't know if he can make the fuel last. It'll be interesting to see how much he's going to be able to short shift and do some fuel saving. If I want to check out Demon real quick ahead of him, Demon's going to make the rest of the race fine. So realistically, assuming nobody else has to pit ahead of these guys, we're looking at Billy, Moose, Specs for podium, followed by Purple, who has a 16-second gap between him and Demon the 5th. If Demon screws up, Tony can get 5th, but Demon's also having a pretty good race for himself, it looks like. I haven't really seen any sort of mistakes from Demon that we've seen, obviously with this stuff that happens off screen and off camera, but as long as he maintains consistency for the next few laps, he's going to be good in 5th.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say, we see specs that came out on softs, again, about 55-60% fuel. So now we're seeing those drivers, like we said, especially the softs coming into play at the end, but we saw much more use of the softs than we anticipated. And that, it's good to see. I'm happy to see the softs having some use because it's always boring when just the hards do. But really, it looks like the podium is made up unless there's a catastrophe.
Yeah, I agree. And it looks like there may end up being a fight for 7th here in Crispy and Labu. Crispy made a good call. He's on softs. He's on low, just about half tank fuel. He's going to be trying to make up time to catch up to Labu and take 7th place away from him. He has tire advantage.
Yeah, but where Crispy didn't help himself especially against Purple, Crispy came out of the pits and got a 3-second penalty for crossing that pit lane, which is something we've seen a lot of the drivers here suffer.
This is a hard track. I mean, some of the placements where they give you control over again. It's a short pit exit. It's on the blind uphill, and especially at night.
And they let you out on an angle. They don't straighten you out.
Right, exactly. So it's difficult. I don't, and I think especially at night it makes it way harder.
I have to agree.
It's a lot easier, but yeah, that's unfortunate. But the second half, we'll have to keep an eye on this gap and see if it lessens as we continue down the list real quick. We got Crispy right there, and 23-second gap for Phelps in 9th.
Yeah, so right now it looks like honestly every position is made up besides P7, which Crispy very well should be able to take, I would imagine, before race end.
We'll see. We'll have to keep an eye on it for sure. As we ride along board with our provisional race winner, I suppose, Gilly, who also is getting a point for the
provisional pole and fast. Yeah. And right now, Mooseman's got fastest lap. We'll see if that changes or anything.
Is Moose on mediums or softs? He's on mediums right now. Mm-hmm. Interesting. And I mean, they're both right around the same. I'm sure Gilly's going to try and take it back. Though we haven't seen a fastest lap, I think, from Giller so far this race. It's really been Mooseman. I saw Tony on there for a second.
Tony was up there, yeah.
But definitely not now with those hards and the fuel saving that Tony's going to be trying to do to make it to the end of the race. So
yeah, I think Tony's really just relegated himself to P6. Not where he wants to be. Not where definitely not where I expected him to be today.
No. Specs, though, I mean, another good race by Specs overall. You know, podiums mean points, baby. And
Absolutely.
You know, again, this is Specs. I feel like there's been so many races, but this is Specs' first Manu Series race with us, and he's done a great job. He did a solid job throughout preseason. He'd be up on the podium a few times, and looks like that trend is going to continue into his first official race of the season. Purple, sorry, accidentally swap back. Purple did a great job, I think, in today's race.
Definitely, I agree. Again, the consistency and sort of staying out of trouble is really giving them a great result. I mean, you know, P4, fantastic result. The race isn't over, but again, unless something catastrophic happens, it does look like the grid has made up its mind for the most part.
We'll jump back on with Demon here, and Tony. Oh, that fuel's looking a little bit low. I think he's gonna be able to make it.
I think he'll be able to make it. Unfortunate though, the gap to Demon just keeps increasing because of it. Yeah, exactly. Right now, Labu's 6.5 seconds behind. Doesn't seem like Crispy's really able to catch up there, which I'm gotta say I'm surprised about. But Crispy also eating into that fuel. Maybe it went a little bit low where they fueled up to, but we'll have to see how it plays out for them.
That's a possibility. You know, but I gotta say, good race to Crispy overall. He was holding track position for a while up there, and fourth for a bit, and you know, just again how the pit strategies play out and whatnot. And he's in a new car, so a different car from previously, you know. So all things to learn and take away as an unfortunate track limits penalty there.
Absolutely, and I'm just watching here. Specs is glued to the back of Giller, really. Again, just forever increasing that gap to P4. And Specs obviously isn't fighting Giller. He's lapped. But if you can take any tow possible, why not give yourself an insurance policy, right?
Absolutely. And Moose is also on his own race. Man, it really is wild to see how much the grid spread out over the course of this race. And I mean, we have a minute and change between Moose and Specs. Man, we're gonna have to start thinking of some paper plate awards, I think, for the end of the season.
Yeah, I think so. It's you know, what is Moose gonna get?
Most track limits, or most car changes in the season.
Yeah, most car changes in the season, I think, sounds good to me.
I will say though, I'm interested to see how the 4C does in the rest of the races. It's funny because it's a car that I almost picked for the last manufacturer series in that, you know, the official like sport mode menu series.
Yeah.
Because I remember enjoying it a lot in GT Sport, but instead I went against my gut and I took the Citroen, which feels horrible to drive. Funny how we don't see any Citroens on our grid here, huh?
Yeah, real funny. As Giller started the final lap with Specs right behind him, he's just coming down the S's to the uphill section at the end of Sector 1. And again, everyone's keeping it clean for the most part. Saw a couple of love taps here and there. People spinning out to their own accord for the most part, it looks like today.
Ooh, Tony getting close to Labu. Mr. Labu had a little oopsie or something like that, but he's not going to be on the attack. And of course, everyone's on their fast level.
No. Labu overtook Tony.
Okay, is that what happened?
Yeah, Tony was a P6, but I think just because of the fuel saving, Tony Cal can't keep going, and that was, I believe, a 5.5 second gap. So Tony is straight struggling right now. Looks like he'll be relegated to P7.
I mean, what
as we're coming up, Dave Giller coming around to finish the race. Boom. And there it is.
Like that, ladies and gentlemen. Gilly taking first place here at Road Atlanta. Mooseman behind going to take second here in a few. There it is. And Specs taking third place. Our podium standers, I suppose. Our podium finishers for our second race of the series, and that was an interesting race. We definitely knew that tire strategy was going to obviously make a big play, or make be a big decision for all these drivers in this race. But it was really interesting to see the mix of strategies that we ended up seeing. And again, like we said earlier, like we keep on saying, how much use the soft tires ended up getting. And it's unfortunate that we had 2 DNFs, so it looks like we'll have to check in with Sakia, who
haven't heard from them.
They weren't really keeping up with anybody, but they would have at least still gotten a point if they finished. And I know that's tough. It's to be racing at the back like that, but you could also take it as a learning opportunity and put some more time in during the week if you need to, or whatever, and just try to decrease that gap in the next few races.
That's right. Now for Arctic and Yuma too, Yuma saying that they're struggling with how long these races are too. Just got to get in the reps. That's what it comes down to, I think.
Yeah, I mean, shit, it's long for us too.
Yeah, absolutely, it's long for us. I'm sitting here crouched over my desk,
babbling on about a race, but hopefully it's somewhat entertaining. We try. We have a season standings chart, not just yet. We actually have to redo it because we have changed the point structure, and so Tony's gonna have to redo that. Something we're working on for sure, though. Arctic, Jared, it's a good idea. All right, Arctic, sounds good. We'll see you there.
Yep. Yeah, that was it was a good. We saw some good battles here and there. Definitely not as close as I anticipated in portions of it, but I think driving at night too also would have had an effect, right? Again, if it's not something you're used to, it's not something we're too exposed to with what polyphony, yeah, yes. What we're given to by the game devs. So it could be a learning curve for some of our drivers, who haven't done it. Custom lobbies seem to be really the best way to experience everything this game has to offer, which good and bad, but the daily races finally seem to be shaping up a little bit more. The daily race C recently has had different tire compounds being necessary.
Absolutely, and we're just going to jump on the results real quick here once again. And congrats to Gilly for first place, Moose the second, and Specs for third place. And kudos to Moose for the fastest lap in the race. So he'll get a bonus point for that. Gilly will get a bonus point for taking pole in qualifying. And it's really amazing to see between the speed and also the pit stops, how wide the gap ended up being. I mean, just from third place, we have, Specs was a lap behind.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible, honestly. I just cannot believe how they managed to pull away.
No, it was amazing. I'm shocked. And, we do have drivers of various skill level here and whatnot. So it's good to see, people that aren't fighting for the top, but people are still having solid races, in the midfield, and that's what it's all about. And it's all about improving and everything. Someone like Tony that we thought for sure would be a front runner, whether they had a bad.
He's washed.
Yeah. Man's racing days are over. Falling down the grid a bit compared to some of the others. He, that's gonna be a points hit that he didn't want to take. And we'll have to see how he comes back in the next few races. But someone like Crispy, who was fighting for highest spot as well, he's coming home in 8th, and he'll take those points. But I think Crispy looks great in the GTR, and I think he had a great race today. Purple had a surprising race, I think, today for both of us. It's kind of an unknown for us because we didn't see them much during preseason, but definitely interested to keep an eye on them for future races. So just real quick, we're going to take another look at upcoming races. So we do swap every Sunday with our MX5 Cup series. So next week we'll be doing that on the 23rd, we will be at Watkins Glen in the Mazda MX-5. So that'll be a good time. MX-5 gang, right, Pato? And there's no formation left for that. There's no tire wear or fuel wear. Yeah, keep an eye on me, says Purple. You got it, baby. No tire fuel wear for the MX-5 races. So it was a bit hectic at our first race in Tsukuba Circuit in Japan. It was a very tight track. People got their elbows out, maybe a little bit too much. And Tony ended up having quite the stewarding session to do after that and handing out penalties. Hopefully, Watkins Glen opens that up a little bit. And
what a fantastic track that is, too.
I love Watkins Glen. I think it's going to be a great race. And so that's 2 MX-5 races we do. First is grid. They're both grid starts, but the first one is the orders based off of qualifying, and then the second race is a reverse grid based off of where you finished in the first race. So if you ended up in first place after the first race, you'll be starting the second race at the back of the grid in last. If you finish the first race in last place, then you'll be leading the second race, which is exciting because it allows like back markers and some of the slower cars a chance to fight with other cars, and it allows the faster drivers a chance to kind of work their way up through the grid and fight their way maybe to another podium.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it really gives those back markers. Last week Pato led the second race. Pato is rather new to Gran Turismo, but it gives you the experience of defending a bit here and there when you need to, and it gives the people who normally lead the race a bit more of a challenge. And it's always fun, also, overtaking and attacking a bit too. So I think it's a really good format right now. But at the end of each series, we'll be basically polling our drivers with what they want to see next. I do anticipate the Manu series sticking around. I think I know it's my favorite.
I think so.
Series.
And we have plenty more races for that as well. The next manufacturer series race is going to be Sunday, July 30th, where we will be at the Red Bull Ring in Austria, and I am very much looking forward to that race. Red Bull Ring is one of my favorite tracks ever. So
absolutely.
Again, we got MX-5 Cup Series next week at Watkins Glen, and the weekend after that, on the 30th, we'll be at Red Bull Ring in the Manufacturer Series Group 3 cars. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. It was great to have some more people in chat and interacting. Jared, Jess, Yuma, Arctic, everyone for joining. Pato, Byrai, I saw you in here earlier. Thank you for joining.
Winter was here.
We had a party. It was a good time. And if you want, check out our YouTube. We'll be having race highlights. We'll be probably doing a few more shorts from the races as well. And I think that's it. Ryan, you got anything?
No, that's it. I want to thank everyone. Wow, words are hard. Thank everyone for tuning in. And go ahead and turn on notifications for when we go live. Our races do start at 1 p.m. EST every Sunday. Right now, we're scheduled through halfway through November. And then we'll probably take a little break between series. But plenty more racing to come. Be sure to watch the VODs if you miss anything. They'll be up on YouTube shortly. It's also staying on Twitch for a week, I believe. So, yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Alrighty, everyone have a great day. We'll see you later.
Cheers.